All right, this is part 3 of the Skyranger Nynja, 2024, now in 25. It's ready for the inspection. FAA inspection is next week, so I wanted to do a follow-up on this and let you know where we're at with this. And this airplane has Rotax 100 horse, 912 ULS. I really like the Duke prop. That's what's on there right now. It's all fitted. I like the doors. I put this compression spring on the doors. I really like that. It kind of keeps them up out of the way. I don't like the two-port doors are just uncomfortable to get in and out of. But as you can see, it's all completed. Wheel pants are on, wings are on. Again, this is painted with house paint, just the Dacron. It's not X-Lam. It's all not, the cowls are out of the cabin because it's getting ready for inspections. But you can see there's I kind of like the tinted windows. I wasn't sure if I would like them, but they are pretty nice. The doors, it looks cool. It's enough of a tint, I think, to give them. I really like the wheel pants. Wheel pants were really pretty easy to put in. I had some of this aerodynamic tube covers that I got from Terry Raber way back in the 2000s, and just a piece of plastic cut in place and fit it up in there so that you can, it just goes to the bottom, and the bottom is attached with just adhesive called shoe glue. There is a separate oil cooler, and this is where the radiator is. The spinner is a very expensive spinner from Duke. Really cool propeller. I'm looking forward to seeing the performance with this propeller. I wanted to talk about first mistakes that I made. One of the mistakes that I made is literally it's recommended that you go through each of these items and count the items that are in the bag. For example, the Nynja radiator mounts, there's only 3 and there's supposed to be 4. Fuse box didn't, the Lucar connectors weren't in there. The battery tray strap, it's just not the right one. It doesn't connect, it doesn't hold it tight. Something's funny there. It pulls through from the other side, so it isn't. I'm gonna have to figure out another way to attach that in. Also, the battery box limits you to this, limits you to the number of batteries that you can use. It has to be this size. And also, because of these extra cables in the way, these rudder stop cables, that limits you in which kind of battery you can buy. So I think eventually I'm going to get one of those lithium. They're a lot smaller and have a good power. Anyway, back to the list. Battery tray, fuel tank webbing straps. I didn't get enough of them. There was only 3. White rivets. There was supposed to be 80. There were not 80. Cowling fasteners. There weren't 30. I should have gotten. What is it? Brake bolts here. I can't remember what that was. No, that was okay. Because of white plastic screws, there were not enough. And it's funny, this is how they come. They come black plastic screws, 50. Got enough. White rivets, not enough. I just used this to hold some old rivets. Not enough. They're supposed to be 80. On the positive side, they send these extras of M4 stainless nylock nuts and M4 stainless bolts. A whole bunch of those extras, and I really use those a lot. I wish there was M6s included. And there was enough. 250 black rivets. There was enough. Yay! So just what you got to do is go through this entire list. Oh, my fuel filler cap. I dropped it once. It's already broken. Darn it. Oh, with the Velcro strips. These are really cool. These This is that fabric. It's held in place with a Velcro and it goes across the top. A great improvement over the stock, but now there's not enough of that hook and loop Velcro to do for the little tray that goes here. So I think probably I could have used less of it along the top, just sections like 2 or 4 inch sections, and then use that over here. That would have been better. What else? Rip Battle. I guess that was, everything else was okay, but it's literally go through the entire thing. And there's also, I did go through the Ukrainian. This is from Ukraine, Kiev, and it's all the tube pieces, and it's been checked, and I did go through this and inventory this. Every piece is in there, and it's, so I was glad that that all came. So my mistake, literally go through and count every piece. All right, while we're in the cabin, here is my digital fuel gauge. I just put 2 gallons in at a time, and I've already been running it up. The Sharpie markers, they're permanent on a lot of things, not on these tanks. I may have to devise another way to have the marks be, but I like them really big and visible, and when you're flying and you just want to be able to see quickly at a glance how much fuel you got. I did put in a facet fuel pump, auxiliary fuel pump. I just use it on startup just to get the fuel up to the car bowls, and if my fuel pump stopped working, then I would use that. These throttles are awesome. This is a much better system than the previous systems. It's just a very simple way of pulling the cables, and one cable goes to each carburetor. I've already hooked them up to the carburetors, and they did a static, an idle synchronization, and they are already good. So I'm really happy with the way the cable system turned out. I also I'm not sure if I like the instrument panel, and maybe I could have laid it out differently. I have a Stratus transponder, and it's a built-in ADS-B, and it probably is big, but I got it used. That's a $3,200 transponder, and I got it for less than half. The fuse box is pretty good idea to have it available. There's no key start, so what I put in was a disconnect. So this is a ground disconnect. So now the battery is totally disconnected. Now the battery is connected. So, and the start button right up here. I mean, I like the radio here. I can control it with my left hand while I'm flying, and switches. The choke cable, I think it's kind of brilliant. It's just so simple. I love these simple things. It's just 2 wires that get hooked back, go through the firewall and up to the choke, and boom, they're off. Super simple, super light. I like that. Nice firewall. My advice right away, when you start building, make sure you put some kind of foam or something under here, because there's so many times nuts and bolts get dropped underneath the seat. The same with on the side. I just cut some insulation, pipe insulation, and put it on the sides to prevent stuff from rolling down. I don't have the insulation on the firewall yet. It's all taken apart for the inspection. They want to be able to look at everything within this. So there's a cover over this as well. I would say one advice, in the instructions it says cut out a piece on the plastic for this. Don't cut it out until you fit it. Mine came up to it and didn't really need to be cut. Other things, the doors, it says that there is a pattern for the doors, and there was no pattern in there. There's a paper pattern On the positive side, when I did the windshield, the instructions in the manual were actually right on the money. I just did it like that. The only thing we want to do is when you're ready to do the final riveting, pull it forward, because I got a little bit of a gap up here that could have just pushed down farther, and it would have pulled it, and the gap would have gone away completely. They've got some really nice rubber here on the door. It is a really nice rubber, but it's too thick in other places. As you can see around here, the Lexan is kind of warping in. It protects the Lexan and it makes a really nice seal, but it's too thick in some places. I put this on, it's just like this, because this area right here gets rubbed a lot when you get in and out of it, so it's, well, what would it be? It's like a grip that you can stick on stuff, but it just is tough. All right, on the cowling is pretty close to the exhaust pipes right here, so I put some of this heat reflecting tape on the inside and a much larger amount on the inside of the cowling, and then down on the bottom around the exhaust. You can see it down there a little bit reflective. It's like insulated aluminum, and it's adhesive. I hope it sticks. So the engine with this is exhaust, gosh, I ordered it. I got the kit in August of last year, and I ordered it right away, and it took all the way until the middle of April before I got the exhaust. So there's probably people all over the world waiting for this exhaust to come. But it's so close. The tolerances are so close. So I've got, this is the oil filter, and its Rotex says 3/4 of an inch, 0.8 of an inch, and it's less than that. So this is something that's going to have to be removed every time the oil filter is changed. And then it's really close to the heater pipes. You can't really see that very well. I like there are critical heat, the coolant pipes, when they go right by an exhaust, it's steel, which is pretty cool. And it just simplifies the application. On this side, the oil line, by moving the oil cooler up here to the top instead of placing it behind the radiator on the bottom, you end up with some closeness. So here I am next to the exhaust pipe. It's really tight, so I've got some, this is a thicker insulation, it's not adhesive. So hopefully that will be enough to keep it insulated. Now there was the gap. The gap for the radiator was really wide, so this is an experiment. I just took some closed cell foam and glued it to the fiberglass, and it's not perfect. It's not a perfect seal all the way around, but air is going to take the route of least resistance, so it's going to go around this. So hopefully more air will go through the radiator. The same with the oil cooler. The oil cooler, it's not perfect, but there's a better one on top. I just put a seal across the top. Also, when I had to install the oil cooler on top, I put an extra strip of fiberglass on the inside of here and just epoxied it. It really strengthened this. Otherwise, it was just this tiny little thin piece right here. That's not very much. And then I took some of the white plastic that comes with it, and I just cut it and made one across the top. The idea is, if you have too much air going through the bottom, you're going to create a low pressure up on top of the engine. And what really is supposed to happen is it's supposed to come through here across the cylinders and down. So it was originally designed to have the oil cooler behind the radiator, and that worked really, really well on my old Skyranger. But there were some complaints that it was not cooling well enough when they were behind there. But if you don't have sealers around that, the baffles, the air is just going to go right around it. So I think if I'm going to make this recommendation to Skyranger to change the radiator brackets, to move the radiator farther forward and tighter up against the opening. And I actually measured the opening. If they did that, that's at about 20 degrees. The old one's at 21 degrees, so 1 degree difference would work. I think the design is correct. I think they just needed to figure out a better way to mount the radiator, and then because I think it's big enough, and I think it's in the right place, and I think there's enough air moving across it. But that's what the recommendation. So that's what I did. That's what we did. So the other thing, this engine is a used engine. I think used engines are good. This one had 6.5 hours. The problem that you get with a used engine is that some of the wiring is short. All of the throttle linkage was missing little parts, and I had to go and buy them separately. But it's still almost 1/3 of the price of a new engine. And this one really looks, it's clean. The other part that happened that was kind of disconcerting, it was almost impossible to get oil pressure. It was impossible to get oil pressure. Turning it over, even with the spark plugs out with running the starter, there was no oil pressure. So I had to do a purge, which is to apply pressure inside the system and open up another part of it so that you can kind of push oil through the engine. The problem was that this cap really isn't that tight. The most I could get was 8 psi through here. Just unhooked this and then laid it on the ground and put a bottle to collect the oil, and pressurized it, closed off this, and pressurized right in here into it. And I had to leave it on for 15-20 minutes at 8 to 9 psi, and then turning it over and letting it sit, and turning it over some more with pressure and let the pressure go, turning it over. Finally, the air bubble got out of the oil pump, which is in front here. And okay, it was a used engine, so it might have been, it was from a crash, so it might have been inverted for some time. So the engine might have sat and oil maybe drained out and got a air bubble in there. It might have been stored on its side, it might have been stored on its nose or on its butt. I don't know. It was, when I got it, it was on a little pallet, but who knows. It came with this high quality fuel flow sensor, but my EIS doesn't read that particular sensor. And again, I'm really cheap. I bought the least expensive EIS, and there are others on the market that I probably should have bought instead of that. They said that they would fix it. $185, I send it in, they would fix it. Also, another thing that happened is this is a newer engine, and it has the new style oil pressure sender. This is the old style. I actually had to buy an adapter, let's get a good one, an adapter there to go into the M10 by 10 and put in a VDO. The VDO is a tapered threads. It's an NPT, because that was compatible with my EIS. The EIS, they said, oh yeah, we can make it compatible with the new style oil pressure sender, but that'll be $150 to do that. So I just got this. A friend of mine had a used VDO sensor, so I put that in, bought the adapter, put that in. It works just fine. The problem with VDO is they don't last really a long time. In my experience, yeah, about every 700 hours, it'll just fail. It'll stop running. So, but you can get those for $67, and those new style sensors are $500. So I'm going to take my new one and sell it and make a little bit of money. When I bought this engine, it had a nice motor mount. It came off of a Zenith 701. Sold the motor mount for $500, which helped as well. So buying a used engine versus a new engine, it's a Rotax. If it runs right, it's running right. And this thing started right up. Really nice job. Really good engine. I'm looking forward to actually getting in the air. I've just done some taxing tests, and the brakes don't hold it at 4,000 RPM. I'm creeping, so I'm going to have to do some high-speed taxis to see what I can do. Otherwise, so that's kind of where we're at. It's all taken apart. The seats are out for the inspections. Again, I really like the construction. The internal cable braced. You see there's 12 cables in there. There's 2 in the wings. There's just a lot of really nice refinements that have been made. But the main structures, these tubes are just, they haven't changed. They're still stock Skyranger parts. The design works. Everything else works. The size of everything, the dimensions are all identical. But I really like being able to see backwards. This back window is going to be, because on the old Skyranger it comes right up to here. You can't see anything backwards. So now I've got 360 degrees all the way around it, which is very, very cool. The wings also have these little blocks inside them that hold the upper rib and the bottom rib apart, which will be really nice. When you're just flying normally, you'll get on the old style without those blocks, the lower ribs will go up. Now they're pretty much flat, or they'll hold it in place a lot better. It comes with this taller vertical stabilizer, so now my door, I have to make sure I open it a little bit taller. But all these other dimensions, the size of the rudder, everything, it's all the same. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And there's a nice low E, boom. It'll have some kind of stripes on here. I have it, but it's not important for the inspection. We'll just put it on later if I have to. I did buy a parachute, and I haven't decided. Well, the parachute needs some reconfiguring. I was thinking of, because this back window is 2 parts. Let's see if you can see that. And it's 2 parts that come over, and this part popping up would be the best one to, there, that's a better shot, to be able to see that. Really nice safety improvement to have this little door, this little windows, side windows, back windows. And the new Nynja has this jury struts that are airfoils instead of just plain old tubes. Oh, I do want to talk about grounds. I've got 2 sets of these grounds
and it's ground bus, and it really wasn't enough. So because my goal was to have a separate ground for everything, so that didn't work. So I got a couple of them that are 2 grounds on one. I just run into a lot of problems with ground, so I really spent extra time making sure everything has a ground. Every ground goes to a bus, and the ground between the engine and the frame and the ground bus is super solid. So that's an important thing. Anyway, I think hopefully this has been helpful for you to kind of see the insides of while it's being built, and now it's pretty much done. Oh, it comes with a few of these little caps, and they're kind of cool. So I bought a whole bunch more of them, and I'll put them on when we're done with the inspection. Because I always, like this one right here, I always bump my back on this one or my head on this one. So these nice little covers will be really handy to have. So Skyranger Nynja, ready for inspection. It should be ready to fly as soon as I get the airworthiness certificate, and maybe give a report after that once it's flying. Thank you for check out the other 2, the part 1 and part 2, and see if that's helpful to you.